Testing, testing. Is this thing on? 1 second. Okay, lots of changes today. We're going to cover all of them. The beta's still down, but I'm just going to cut straight into what you're looking to hear out of this stream, which is what's the change, what's the impact of these nerfs and buffs. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. First, we'll introduce the change. So, by the way, tell me if the audio is good, because I made a change. I did a change so that my little avatar only talks whenever I talk. Like this. See, he talks whenever I talk, but other people shouldn't make it talk anymore. So hopefully that works out well. Anyways, we've got some set bonus changes, but the thing we actually want to cover first here at the top of the news for World of Warcraft is, well, two things. Number one is going to be the tank changes, and number two is going to be the changes to Mage and Evoker once WoW head loads. Wow, this site is taking a hit right now. Okay, we already have it open though, it's fine. Okay, so War Within beta, data mine, class, and spell news. So yeah, a bunch of aura stuff. They added Chrono Shift back as a PvP talent. Boo! Boo! We hate this. I hate when PvPers get the talents I want and I can't use them. That sucks. Yeah, all this stuff doesn't matter, but this is the important part. So splinters across the board. Splinter Storm, splinters themselves, all of this is nerfed. Right, so that's a pretty big nerf right there. And then on top of that, we also have some dev changes as well. I'll just tell you what this means. So yeah, just going through this really quickly. Just 10% buff. Everything buffed by 10%. They did some changes to augmentation too. I think Aspect's Favor might be changed now. It says it increases your max health by, instead of 7%, now it says 4%. But it's weird because the ranks aren't matching up. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be a 4%er in total. So that's also a thing. It's 2% baseline, 4% with the buff. Still defensive, so still really good. In terms of what actually panned out on the Mage side of things, so if we go over to our raid bots, I've already done this sim. I've got this ready for you already. So here's the fucking bottom line. Before, if you played with no Splinter Storm, you did 1.55 million damage per second. Now you do 7.9% less damage. So you're doing 1.429 million damage. So yeah, 7.9% nerf here. This is doing a meme though. I don't think this is going to go live. I was expecting them to change this in this patch, but apparently not. And then, so here's where we are right now. If you play like, you know, a very ethical build, you aren't doing some weird talent shit. So pre-nerf, we were at 1.349 million. Now we are down 5.6% in total for 1.273 million in single target. So yeah, they're trying to bring Arcane in line with a lot of the other specs when it comes to single target, and this definitely does bring it down from the fucking stratosphere. It's still going to be a top DPS though. It's not really changing Arcane's place in terms of like the overall class tuning. There's other classes that may also be good. They got reworks, like Shaman, for instance, is getting a pretty substantial amount of single target right now. I think they're actually pretty close to Arcane in terms of single target, so they're doing pretty good. Arcane's definitely knocked down the peg again. This is like the fourth week in a row for nerfs. Yeah. But so the breakdown is as follows. So if we look at the old Arcane, this is what your breakdown looked like. You can see that Splinter Storm and Arcane Splinter, those are pretty big, but we also have like Splinter Recall. We've got other Splinter stuff in here, like the embedded Arcane Splinters. So there's like a lot of Splinter stuff in here. In total, if you look at Splinters, here this is doing 25.6% of your damage overall. And now if we look at what it is with the nerfs, you can see that on the chart, Splinters has moved now. So Splinter Storm is lower, Arcane Splinter is lower, Embedded, all that shit's lower. And if we look at Splinter overall, now it's doing 21.7% of your damage instead of the 25 it was before. So yeah, it definitely got knocked down the peg. I think this number was too high, so it kind of makes sense for them to nerf it. I would be surprised if they nerf it further, but they definitely need to still change the bugs. And we also don't know if the clear casting bug is still in the game, because a part of why this profile is doing so well is because of a bug. So if we go to the raw input, you can see it here. Override spell data. This is the spell data for clear casting. I'm basically forcing it to be a higher value to try and match what live is, because we've noticed that on live, clear casting procs more than it should. Like the percentage it tells you in game is wrong. This is what it's actually doing. And also the talents in game are bugged, and some of them are backwards and give you less clear casting. So yeah, be really careful with Illuminated Thoughts. That's a bad talent. You don't want to run that talent. It's a bad thing. Makes your damage go down. But yeah, that is, so we got through all that really quick, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I already did the work to figure out what the difference would be. So by the way, if you're ever wondering what the changes are, there is a way to find out earlier than Wowhead posts, but it's a bit weird. So if you're trying to figure out like what's changing, if you go to wago.tools/ and then you give it the DB, so this would be DB2 because it's the beta. And you can choose like which patch you're on right here. And then you select a table. So like in this case it would be like spell effects is mainly what changes, right? Spell effect. And you scroll over to where it says spell ID and you find the spell ID for the spell you want and you put it in here. You can find changes pretty quickly in this tree if you know what you're doing, if you're just like reading through it. But this will basically feed everything into this table here and you can just search it. Another way that's really good to try and find changes is to just go to where Simcraft is doing their dump, because they always do this giant dump of info. Whenever a new patch comes out, it's going to come over here to SimC, and if you go over like to the commits, you look at what the commit is, right? So dump spell data for build XYZ, and then you just, so like on this page typically you're just going to see like everything, right? So like a lot of this information is not relevant, but if you click on the one that you play, like, so for instance, I care about Mage. So if you click Mage, you click load diff. Now it's going to show you what changed. And it's a bit hard to read through this, but like, so for this one, right, I can see its spellfire coefficient went down. This one was higher. So if I click to expand it, I can see what the spell was. And so right here it says Splinter Storm. So I know that Splinter Storm got nerfed. It used to be this coefficient, now it's this coefficient. Right, and you can just do the math and figure out what the difference is there. Obviously, you can also just wait for Wowhead to post, but I'm just showing you other ways to get to this because you don't have to wait if you don't want to. Like, you can just look this stuff up earlier and then feel smart. But yeah, all the changes should be in here. I don't know. So, like, here are all the Mage changes, I guess, in, like, the actual data. So this might include more than, like, what Blizzard posted. So, like, Mass Barrier went from 120 seconds to 180 seconds, right? I don't have the name here still, but you'll see it. Name Ice Cold. Oh, here it is. Name Mass Barrier. Yeah. So Mass Barrier cooldown increase. You can look at just any of these changes and just expand this until you see the actual name. It's like Fire Mastery here. You can see it says talent entries. Replace Frostbolt. Now it's saying talent entry replace Fireball. So I don't know what this actually means in game, but it seems like they are making this a talent entry that's going to replace, instead of the Frostbolt button, if you're playing Mage, Frostfire Mage, it should replace your Fireball button instead now. I think that's the bottom line here. And then, obviously, we have more spell power coefficients. These are also Splinter Storm, so we already talked about this. These are for Splinter. So if we expand this list upwards, you'll see that here. Let's just find the name. Yeah, Arcane Splinter. So yeah, Arcane Splinter nerf right here. This one is also, yeah, Splinter Storm nerf. We already talked about that. This one is... I think this is another Splinter effect. Oh, it's another Splinter Storm thing. Yeah, Splinter, Arcane Splinters, yep. So there's like a couple components of Splinter that they nerfed. It isn't just like one area. On the notes from Wowhead, they make it look like really nice and clean. But if you're to try to look through this yourself, you have to do a little sleuthing to figure out what they're talking about. Right, they make it look really nice with these tooltips, but what it actually looks like is this. Oh, this is interesting. Wait, what's going on here? Big brained. Oh, did they fix it? Did they fix Big Brain? Hold on. I think they might have fixed Big Brain. Because before it wasn't really doing anything. Yo, J-Dog, we don't even have mounts in our guild still. We're trying to get... I'm sorry if I missed your message. Yeah, we're still trying to get mounts for our raiders. Sorry, friends. What is this one? What are you looking for, by the way? Back to dev angle? I mean, it's just a 10% buff. It doesn't change the gameplay at all. Yeah, this is just trinkets, it looks like. Oh, by the way, I'm trying to get into beta, but it's still offline. So yeah, those are the mage changes in a nutshell. Let's talk about Evoker now. And then we'll get back to mage. So we'll just go ahead and scroll down here. How much of a nerf? Here, I'll talk about it again. So I already did the work. So here's the numbers. So pre-nerf, without Splinter Storm, was doing 1.55 million. Actually, this view is better. Yeah, so pre-nerf was doing 1.55, and now it's nerfed by 7.9% if you don't spec into Splinter Storm, which is a meme. Like, I don't think you're actually doing that, but you could try. And then doing it like the natty way with like a normal build, that is a 5.6% nerf. Yep. I'm curious to see if there's like undocumented changes that happened here too. Oh, there's some embellishment changes. Warrior, Shaman, Rogue, Priest, Paladin. These are alphabetical. Evoker. So Evoker just got like a 10% buff across the board, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Firestorm damage increased by 10%. The Spatial Paradox thing used to be a different effect number, and they changed the number. I don't know if that does anything, actually. I'm actually not sure what that changes. Might just be them cleaning up something. But yeah, if we go down to other things, so we're looking for green over here, where it has a like spell coefficient is changed. So that's kind of like what we're looking for, to see if we can find changes. It's like over here, like coefficients have changed on this, right? So this is a buff. Right here, this is a 10% buff. And yeah, so I think this is Disintegrate. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it's Disintegrate. It says it right here. So yeah, across the board buffs to Devastation. Across the board nerfs to Mage. Augmentation defensive nerfs. They still provide defensives though, so they can keep nerfing it, but it's still better than not having it. No fire changes, as far as we know. Well, actually, hold on. There's a fire change because there's a frost change as well. The change is mass barrier got nerfed, so it's a 3-minute cooldown now instead of a 2-minute. That affects all the mage specs. But other than that, I mean, it's really just arcane damage nerfs, right? They just nerf splinters, so just getting damage nerf. Three-minute CD isn't terrible, yeah, but it is 50% more than a 2-minute CD. So I mean, it's still pretty big nerf if you think about it. But mass barrier is a very strong move, so it's not surprising that it got nerfed. Also, apparently, it wasn't working with like the health scaling. It didn't take the health hit that a lot of other stuff happened, so it took. So it's like pretty good, like with the defensive nerf across the board. Yeah, it's a good spell. It's not surprising it got nerfed. Is Arcane Mage still going to be meta? As of right now, yeah. It still does like 273 more K than Fire does. Actually, 373 K more than Fire does. So yeah. I don't know where Frost is at. But it's definitely lost a little ground though. How's Dev doing with the buffs? 10% better. The Dev one is easy to quantify because aside from passive effects, all of its abilities just do 10% more. So it's probably like less than a 10% nerf in reality. It's probably more like a 9.5 or something buff for Dev, but it's still basically just getting a 10% buff to its skills. So it's really easy to quantify that. No playstyle changes. Yeah, that's the thing that's really not great. I feel like the lack of gameplay changes is an indicator of the fact that the gameplay seems to be like locked in at this point. I think at this point in beta, Blizzard's like, all right, we're done. You get what you get. Whatever it is, whatever we put in already, that's what you get. And if you don't like it, just play a different class. Yo, Jake Partial, thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate you. I would rather Dev just be fun to play. Yeah. But it should be tuned well still. My main issue with Dev is like, number one, it's not fun. Number two, it's not overpowered. Number three, AUG is just better. Like, what's the point? If you aren't having fun with it, if there's a better spec that shares the class with it, if you're not overpowered, you've got to have like one of those things be true. So do you think they've made it past all the gameplay and style stuff? I think there will be gameplay changes that are unintentionally changed. Like if they, for instance, just with this, right? There was a gain that you could do with like doing Splinter Storm at certain times by using like shifting power to proc it or whatever. That gain seems to be like less now because of this change. So like there's unintentional consequences, right? But I don't think big gameplay changes are happening. Yo, Nanobite, thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate that. Appreciate ya. So yeah, I mean, it's like nothing big, right? Nothing big, but small changes can have unintended consequences. Have you ever heard of the Cobra effect? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say the Cobra effect? So there's like this thing where, like, I think it was in the UK. They had like, or maybe it was somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where it was. It was like they had a rat infestation, so they just like had people just like bring in cobras to try and like kill the rats. And then the unintended consequence was like that was worse than the rat infestation. Hold on, let me Google it so I don't butcher this. Cobra effect. Okay, here it is. I had to Google this today. It's called pervasive incentive. It's an incentive that has the unintended and undesirable result that is contrary to the intentions of the designers. This, I think, is a good way to kind of talk about Mythic Plus right now in the beta. So, like, on Mythic Plus, Blizzard is like, you know what? We don't want stops to be as important, so we're just going to make it so the mobs chain cast. The unintended consequence of that is stops are more important than they were, not less. So, actually did the opposite of what they were intending, right? So that's pervasive incentive. The Cobra effect is a good example of this. So, like, here it is. I think they talk about it here. Yeah, British government. Okay. Yeah, anecdotal occurrence in India during British rule. The British government, concerned about the number of venomous cobras, offered a bounty. Oh, never mind. It was the other way around. They were concerned about how many cobras they were, and then they said there's a bounty on them. And then they killed a bunch of the snakes, and then people started to breed cobras so that they could kill them and get money. And once the government was aware of this, they stopped the program, and then the breeders all set their snakes free, and then this just made the cobra population like way higher than it was at the start of everything. This is just like how they do Mythic Plus changes. They do a change. They say they want to accomplish like a goal. Their change does the exact opposite of what they're trying to do. I feel like this has happened so many times. It's hard to get it right because you have to foresee every outcome. But I think they maybe are just like out of touch with what players want, so like they don't get it. But I think the tank change is like a good example of this, because I think it's going to have the exact opposite. They're like, we want tanks to feel like they aren't getting killed as much. Like it isn't like a one-shot thing where they can sustain themselves better and less spiky damage, but then they're nerfing all of their defensives. So it's like, what? Like you have to do like a huge nerf to everything then, right? And of course, if you do that, even then, it still could be the exact opposite outcome, because if you pull bigger, where the DPS aren't getting killed because the mobs have been nerfed across the board, well, now the tank is taking probably the same amount of damage, and they just have less defensives. Yeah, no problem, Arson. Have you talked about the Evoker changes? 10% buff across the board. Yes. It's real easy to know how much Dev is getting buffed by because they just hit every spell. So, Eternity Surge, your hero talent maneuverability on the skill commander tree, Pyre, Ruby Embers, which is a talent for Living Flame, Shattering Star. We also have the baseline talents. So, if we go below AUG here, like the general stuff, Azure Strike, Deep Breath, Disintegrate, Fire Breath, Living Flame. All this is buffed 10%. I don't see it in here, but I think Firestorm also got a buff. I think Blizzard forgot to include it. Because I was looking at the spell data, and I found an entry for Firestorm in here. Let me see if I can find it again. Yeah, so look, Firestorm, and then the old coefficient for Firestorm was 1.5. And the new coefficient is 1.65. So yeah, this is... Firestorm did get a buff. They missed it. I'm going to tell Squishy this. One second. I want him to know so he can update the... Was he the one who posted this? Hold on. I think he normally posts these, right? Oh. Not him. Okay, 1 second. Was there another one? Am I missing something? Spatial, Unravel, Verdant, Living Flame, Fire Breath, Disintegrate, Deep Breath. Was it listed under AUG? No. Preservation? No. And then it's not up here in the talents. Yeah, they just missed it. Here, I'll just let them know. Okay, I'll let them know. No. Blizzard didn't forget. I think it just got missed in the Wowhead post. But it's in there. Blizzard didn't forget it because it's in the DB. I looked it up. See? Firestorm. Spell coefficient used to be 1.506, and now it is 1.65. So that's a 10% buff. They might have missed something else too. I mean, I like to double check their work just so I can be sure, you know. They have a hard job. Like, it's hard to get this data out really quick, so I think it helps when people double check. What nerfs did Mage receive? Splinter Storm nerf by 10. Hold on, 20%. The bottom line is you got nerfed by 5.6%. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so Splinter Storm went from 29 to 23.2. And then the damage from it, from the embed, went from 20 to 20.7 to 16.56. And yeah, so this is 20%. And then Splinter Storm itself went from 29 to 23.2. And then the end result is here. So if you don't play with Splinter Storm, it was a 7.9% nerf. If you do play with Splinter Storm, it's a 5.6% nerf. Here, I'll just post the sim in chat so you can just look at it yourself. Yeah, they barely did anything to Arcane, man. Arcane kind of got away like scot-free. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. They're just getting away with it. You'll love to see it. Yes, Arcane Gang. I'm so excited. I think they're going to hit it again, though. Because they keep doing these nerfs, but, like, it's never enough. So I'm still just, like, weary. I can't, like, be at ease, you know? I feel like at any moment they're going to strike. I'm just glad they didn't nerf Blast again. Why less damage? So that's a great question. Hooray. You asked a great question. I'm going to answer this question. All right. So why would you have more damage if you don't pick a talent? That's a great question. Why would you have more damage if you don't pick a talent? Well, the answer to this question is they didn't really think this shit through. So if you go in here and you pick your talents, okay? Splinter Storm, if we read the tooltip, says that whenever we have 8 or more splinters, it's going to trigger this effect. To be fair, the effect actually does a decent amount of damage. It's not a bad effect. It also used to give us clear casting, but they nerfed it, right? And that's another part of this, the reason why this is like way better. But anyways, it does damage. It pulls all the splinters back. It fires them off in a barrage. It looks really cool. It's fun. It's got flavor. Unfortunately, it's a damage loss. Because if you just let them shit sit in the target, you can keep stacking them up. So if I don't go Splinter Storm, what's going to end up happening is my splinters can stack all the way to 250 on the target. So it takes time for that to happen. So if it's like a short pull, it's not worth it. If there's like a bunch of targets, it's not worth it. But if it's single target and you uncheck this talent, you just instantly gain damage, right? You go from here to here, 14.9% damage increase. So I don't think this will actually make it live, if I'm being honest with y'all. I think this is like super, super unintended. I mean, clearly, right? Why would a talent give you negative damage? Picking this talent gives you negative 13 damage. One talent, minus 13% damage. Single target. That's stupid, right? There's no way they intend for this to happen. So, yeah, this is not going to stay this way. I'm surprised they didn't already change it. But what's funny is that they nerfed Splinter Storm. Yeah, they nerfed Splinter Storm. Which is the talent we didn't want to take. Dude, Blizzard's so funny sometimes. I'm just like, guys, do you know what's going on? Hello? It's okay though. Listen, Blizzard not knowing what the fuck is going on works in our favor sometimes. All right? It is a double-edged sword. You have to think of it that way. It's not just negatives. Sometimes it's negatives. Sometimes it's really fucking frustrating, but sometimes it works in your favor. Especially as an Arcane Mage. Arcane is historically the most unintuitive spec of all time, right? Because there have been times where you play Arcane the complete backwards way you would think you would play it. The best example of this, back in Emerald Nightmare, you literally would just spam spenders until you ran out of mana, and you would never use your like barrage or whatever. Like you would stay at 0 mana and you would just keep attacking, and you would just wait in between your mana. So like if you didn't have mana, you would just like spam Nether Precision on the target, and you would or not Nether Precision, what was it called? The fucking little dot, forget its name. Nether Tempest. You would spam Nether Tempest on the target. And then you would just spam Nether Tempest until you get clear cast. Spend. And you would spend like 3/4 of your globals just doing nothing. And that was the best way to play Arcane. Of course, once people played it in progression, they were like, okay, yeah. We can't let this fly. But like that's just like one example of what Blizzard has done in the past to Arcane because they just don't understand it. I'm convinced that the designers of Arcane, like, they just don't get it, but it's okay. Like, they actually cook sometimes. So, like, the talents are good. The War Within, it's pretty fun to play. I think they did a good job overall. I just still don't really think they fully understand it, but that's okay. They're doing a pretty good job considering that they don't really get it. Yeah, so the value of this, by the way, is like totally lost if it's like multi-target or the target dies early or like you die early. So if you're wiping like 1 minute into the pull over and over and over again, you would not do this, okay? This is a 5-minute sim, right? This requires you to be attacking the target for 5 minutes. The gain is still going to be there if you lower the time on this, but it's not going to be like as big, right? So, you know what? Fuck it. Well, let's just find the breakpoint. Yeah, so, like, let's go back. Let's say it's a 1.5 minute fight. So, much shorter fight. How much different is current Arcane to new Arcane? Completely different. Don't even think of it as the same thing. It has the same abilities, but it's so much different that I really don't think you should think of Arcane as what you know of Arcane. Right? It's a different thing. The playstyle is very, very different. So here's 1.5 minutes. Okay, so it's still ahead. It's ahead by 12%. Okay. Jesus Christ. 1 second. Maybe 40 seconds? I don't know. Where's it going to level out? It might be ahead at all values in single target. It might just be better in single target, like straight up. All right, because I was thinking about practicing Arcane later. Yeah, you should do that right now. It's really fun. How are Dev Evokers looking? 10% buff. So that, I think they're definitely in the top 50%. Yeah, no Splinter Storm is still ahead. That's funny. It's just ahead, like, period, in the story. Wait, hold on. There's something overriding this. That's not true. There was an error. I just fixed it. Let's run this again. I noticed the damage numbers weren't going up. Okay, so yeah, major overhauls going into effect for pre-patch. I'm sure there will be. We don't know. You have to look into a crystal ball. I don't have one of those today. I broke mine, sorry. Shattered my crystal ball. Yep. It was the middle of the night. I was walking to the kitchen to grab a glass of water, and I stumbled and I fell and I accidentally put my hand on the table and the crystal ball fell off and it broke, so I can't predict it. Sorry. But I do have a glass of water, so that's good. Okay, yeah, so it's not ahead. Here it is. So this is a 1.5 minute sim, and no Splinter Storm is behind by 5%. So yeah, it's a time-based thing, right? Maybe 2 minutes. Having some pizza? Hell yeah. I just ate the pizza, actually, before I started streaming. See, the thing is we get these pizzas here, because I live in DC now, and it's great. We get this Chicago deep dish pizza. Very deep. The pizza's like fucking this thick, dude. It's crazy. I have to eat that shit with like a fork and a knife like a European. So it's a whole thing. I'm not looking to stream while I do that. Unless I'm really hungry. So yeah, it's still behind at 2 minutes. So this is what I was saying, like, this backs up what I was saying before. Like, you need that fight to last, like, some amount of time for this to be worth it. And it needs to be single target. Europeans don't eat pizza with a fork and a knife. When I went to Europe, they totally ate pizza with a fork and a knife. So maybe, like, in some weird, obscure area, but, like, they looked at me like I was a savage when I went to just grab that shit with my hands. I'm pretty sure that's, like, a faux pas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure eating pizza with your hands is like goblin mode. But you know what? Goblin mode is fucking sick. It was okay, so it was actually a pineapple pizza, unfortunately. I was in Germany, and they were obsessed with the pineapple pizza for some reason. It was like, this was like high school, so this is like a long time ago. But I was hanging out with other people who were my age. So we're all like high schoolers. And yeah, they were all just fucking fork and knife. Okay, so it pulls ahead at... It's actually kind of big. Holy fuck. Yo, it pulls ahead bigly at 3 minutes. Jesus. Yeah, 6% ahead at 3 minutes. It's like even at 2. Or like slightly behind at 2. So it's like between 2 and 3 minutes. I don't know. Maybe it's just Germans. All I know is I got judged, alright? SS is Splinter Storm. Okay. I believe that not everyone is obsessed with pineapple pizza. I was just saying that where I was at, which was Montabaur, Germany, the host family I stayed with and their friend group, which are the people that I hung out with, at the gymnasium, or wait, was it the Realschule? I don't remember. It was one of those two words. It's the bigger, like the better one, the fucking smart kid one, not the trade school one. They were the kids we were hanging out with, and they were all about the pineapple pizza. Maybe it was like a fucking trend or something. Who knows? Maybe that was just pineapple pizza week. Yeah, so it is a slight loss at 2 minutes. So it needs to be a little bit over 2 minutes for it to be good. So Devastation is going to be more viable. Yeah, it's like 10% more viable. But again, viability depends on the opportunity cost. Okay, whenever you talk about viability of a class, you can't do it in a vacuum. You can't just talk about one class. And you need to be specific with what form of content it's doing. So viability in PvP versus Mythic Plus versus raiding, these are all different things. If you're talking about viability, I assume you mean like raid and Mythic Plus, right? In raid, I'm sure it will be just fine. In Mythic Plus, I don't think so. I think augmentation exists, so that's going to be a tough fucking prospect for you. And also, we need to know the degree at which you're playing, like what level. Are you playing like in a guild where people care a lot about your performance? Are you playing a guild where people don't give a shit and you can just one trick? Are you going for like cutting edge progression? Are you like top 3000? I mean, it could be like there's a whole ass scale, right? But like as you approach the high end or even guilds that are lower, I feel like it may actually be worse in guilds that are lower. Actually, now that I think about it, if you're in a guild that cares a lot about your performance, it's harder to make a spec work it might be viable, but it won't be optimal. And there's a very important distinction between those two words. Because almost everything is viable, but optimal can only be the best, right? It's just whatever's the best for this comp. What's the best comp we can bring? Does Devastation have a spot in the best possible comp? That comes down to, number one, how many Augmentation Evokers are there? Number two, is there another class that you want to stack that's overpowered like Arcane Mage? Number three, how many healers need Spatial Paradox? Or Rescue? Or, you know, is there some other requirement like Spatial that's required? Right? How many Source of Magics do you need? This sort of shit. These are the questions that will, like, very, very high key impact, like, your quote-unquote viability. I would say how optimal you are. I wouldn't use the word viability because it's too ambiguous. But yeah, there's like too many factors to consider, right? But based on the current tuning, I think Dev is like decent. It's definitely like above. It's better than average. So yeah, it just comes down to like how good Aug is and how many buffs you need from Evoker and if there's another OP class. Because if you want to stack like 4 mages, you may not have room for a dev in that comp, right? You got your 4 mages, you got your 2 augmentation evokers, you got your shaman, you got your demon hunter, you got your warrior, you got your paladin, you got your druid, you got your, you know, it's like go through all the fucking raid buffs, right? List them all out. And then obviously some people need to be healers, some people need to be tanks. And can you make it fit in that? Lower keys in Europe is Giga Gatekeepy. Dude, whenever I was playing on Europe, I actually loved the pug scene in Europe. I feel like I could pug keys in Europe and it was like always okay. But if I pug keys in NA, it is like a fucking disaster 90% of the time. I think there's just like a different level of play at like the average pug key level that's like, it's actually kind of insane. Like it's a stark contrast. I'm not interested in pugging here, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind going on the EU servers and just pugging high keys just to try and get a little score. Like I don't really mind that. If I do it on NA, it's so much worse that I just can't stomach it. But there's also downsides, and of course this is just like me, you know, I'm just doing like a caricature or something, right? So I'm just speaking from experience, so this is all anecdotal. But whenever I do raids, pug raids in Europe, we kill all the bosses really easily, but we take fucking insane breaks between them, and it drives me crazy. Like we'll like literally one-shot every boss in the raid, including the last boss, but the raid will take like 2 hours because we take like a fucking sabbatical between every pull. And I feel like in NA, like people get really mad if you like are AFK between pulls. Like people just start molding and like pre-pulling the boss and shit whenever you're not there. It's like people are like way less patient. But again, this is just like generalizing, so I'm just speaking from experience here. Nothing that's actually, I'm not saying like all Europeans are this way or all North Americans are this way. It's just in general, I feel like the pugs are like way better, I think, over there. Where can I find the changes? They're on Wowhead. So if you go over to Wowhead and you click live, make sure you're clicked to live because that's where their news articles get posted. And you go down here, you're going to see this. War Within tier set tuning changes. This is one area that there's updates. And then the other one is the War Within data mine class and spell changes. This was posted an hour and 48 minutes ago. You come in here and you just click on which class you play. Let's see if they added the mage stuff in yet. Wait, no, it's Evoker. I told them that Firestorm was missing. Let's see if they added it. Maybe I have to refresh my cache. No, guess not. Maybe they're still working on that. Pugging keys in NAs recently has been disastrous. That's funny. Is Mage still fine? Yeah, Arcane's still good as fuck. Yeah. I wouldn't mind those long breaks, but I could definitely lose start. But I definitely will lose start to lose focus fast. Yeah, I also lose focus fast. I go crazy when we're just sitting there waiting. I'm like, come on, guys. Got shit to do. Threat changes. Yeah, I noticed that there was like a line for threat changes. I don't know what it means though. Hold on, let's try and figure this out. Okay, so it's a threat label change. It says modifies threat value equals 0%. I don't know. It's just on everything but it's trinkets, I guess. These are trinkets. I don't really know what this is, to be honest with you. I don't think it does anything though. It's not like immediately it's not like immediately apparent what this does. As long as I don't get one shot for casting as dev. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll probably be like, if you're just like not taking the raids all that serious and you're just looking to play and pug and do shit, I think you'll probably be just fine if you're a good player. I'm not like fully doomed on it. Will you enjoy your time though? Will you have a fun time? Do you know Frost Mage is getting viable for raiding Mythic Plus pushing? Dude, I think Frost keys are like on it. Unironically, I think Frost is like under the radar. I think it's actually low-key good. But it gets overshadowed by Arcane just being broken. I see a lot of people saying that like Fire is like the second best spec. I think Frost might be the second best spec. I think it's just like super, super, super under the radar right now. I think you have to play it a certain way, and I think you have to have certain hero talents, but it seems really simple. I don't think you go GS. It seems like very simple. And like I've seen Frost Mages do like really good damage. So I think it's actually like maybe good, and people just don't know. Oh, the official blue notes are up. Okay, let's go check those out. Yo, Erg99, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Thanks for letting me be your Prime guy. Let's take a look at these notes. No one plays Frost in the beta, that's why it's under the radar. Yeah, also their talents are like bugged and they suck. Okay, let's see. What'd they do here? Blue notes. Okay, so is this all new? As of 6:05. Wait, hold on. We need to find the new post. Was it just added onto this? Two minutes ago. Here it is. Okay, Death Knight. Death Knight can now only heal for a percentage of the damage taken from a given damage event once. That strikes that healed and minimum health amount do not count as using damage events in this way. This is a nerf not just to Frost or Unholy. Obviously, it's a blood nerf, but like it's all three, right? Because Death Strike is actually like a really insane tool for Death Knights to not die, DPS included. I keep doing the meme. Or like showing the image of like the Death Knight healing for like 6.7 million because that just like fucking blew my mind when I saw that. Yeah, this is obviously like just nerfing that strike across the board. Okay, so go to Arcane. Yeah, 1 second. Mage. Mass Barrier now has a cooldown of 3 minutes. Yep. Splinter damage reduced by 20%. Embedded Splinter damage reduced by 20%. Splinter Storm reduced by 20%. Yeah, we already have the sims for this. It's right here. This is pre-nerf. Or hold on. I have it set to a weird time. Let me go to 5 minutes. So one of these is going to be pre-nerf, and one of them is going to be post-nerf, and one is going to be running Splinter Storm, and one's going to be not running Splinter Storm. Wait, hold on. Where's that? Where's that new shit? I don't see Barrage in here. Hold on. Reload. Oh, shit. Wait. It's on the other form? Wait, what do you mean? That means it's old, right? Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. This is not... Is this from today? 4 minutes ago. Oh, shit. This is from today. Okay, wait. This is... Oh, they did the fucking dumb thing, dude. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Arcane Barrage damage increased per arcane charge. Increased to 90%. Why did they reduce orb damage? What? Okay, wait. Hold on. Let's do the math. So... Arcane damage release increase per arcane charge. We can sim this. Hold on. I can do this. So let's go in here. T32 arcane mage. Override spell data effect. 1 second. I will sim this in just a moment. Okay, so here is the pre-nerf. We are looking for Arcane Barrage in the spell data here. So let's go back. I wonder if this is included in the build or if it's just on top of everything else. Okay, so if I go over to spell data dump and I go to Arcane Mage, or is it Mage? No, that's not the right one. We want just normal Mage. Okay, and then I go find Arcane Barrage. Actually, first let's figure this out. Wowhead, Arcane Barrage. I want to see what the current coefficient is. So on beta, the coefficient for Arcane Barrage... This is the wrong spell. Google, come on, man. It's the spell right here. Okay, so here's the coefficient. So it should be 0.972. 0.972. 0.972. Here it is. We found it. So this is what we're looking for. Let's just confirm it. Arcane Barrage. Yes. Okay. Spell data effect. Here's the ID. So we're going to override this ID. The effect right now is 0.972. The nerf is 60%. So we're going to multiply this times point... Wow, that's such a huge nerf. So multiply this times 0.4. Okay, so here's the new coefficient. And we're just going to override this. And then we need to find the coefficient for arcane charges. So this is going to be... I believe it should be 30 plus mastery. So let's see. It should just be just 30 somewhere in here. This is hyperthermia. Let's just search for arcane charges. Be easier that way. Okay, so evocation, blink, frost nova. Here it is. Wait, no, this is intuition. Okay, I think this is it. Wait, no, this is prodigious savant. Shit. We gotta find the right one. Arcane tempo, no. Impetus, no. Cumulative shielding, no. Perpetual winner, no. Maybe it's under barrage. Hold on. Okay. So right now, Arcane Barrage is doing 30% more per arcane charge. Scaled value. This is Harmony. Need to find Arcane Barrage. Okay. Arcane Barrage. Here it is. We're looking for the number 30. Somewhere in this area. It should be a 30 or a 0.3. It'll be one of those. I don't know which one. 1.3. Hold on. I'm cooking, guys. Give me a sec. So, yeah, this is icicles. It's not what we want. Coefficient 1. This is not it. This is not it. What is the name of the arcane mastery? Do you know? Offhand? I could look it up, but... Savant. It's just called Savant? Okay, that's it. Yeah, Mastery Savant. Alright, let's search for Savant. Mastery Savant. Okay, so we're looking for 30 in here. Or 1.3 or 0.3. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. It's always different. Okay, here it is. Affected spells, arcane charge, spell power coefficient 30. Apply aura. Here's 60. Okay, this is arcane blast. This is barrage. So here's the ID. This is a spell effect. So we're going to go in here. We're going to override player spell effect data. This is the arcane charge for barrage, which is spell ID 313335. The spell power coefficient on this is 0.3. So we're going to override this here. Just add in the spell coefficient. Okay, and we are now going to update this to match what we see here, which is arcane barrage damage increase per arcane charge increase to 90. So since it says increase to, not increase by, this is no longer going to be 0.3, it's going to be 0.9. Okay, so this is with the change. And was there anything else? Arcane missiles also reduced by 10%. So we need to find missiles. The best way to do this would be to reverse search it. So missile, we need to find arcane missile first. Figure out the coefficient on it. I was just doing this the other day. I should have this saved somewhere. Dude, I cannot spell for shit. It's crazy. Okay, here it is. So arcane missile spell power coefficient is 0.635. 0.635. 0.635. Okay, here it is. Arcane missiles. Yep, this is what we're looking for. So the ID is here. So we're going to do another override. Player spell data effect. This is for arcane missiles. And we're going to reroute this to 10% less. So here is the number. We're going to multiply this times 0.9. Here's the new number. And we will paste this in. Okay, there's the missiles nerf. And the last thing was orb, right? Arcane orb. Arcane orb damage reduced by 10%. Alright, let's start with the arcane orb ability to get the coefficient from it. Okay, here is the talent. So the coefficient is here, 1.02. So let's search for 1.02. Here it is, arcane orb. All right, and the ID is here. This is a spell power coefficient, so it's the same story. We just copy to override the player spell data effect to the new spell power coefficient. And this is now reduced by 10%. So we can multiply this by 90%. We get our new value. We paste it in. All right, you ready? All systems go. Let's see what the fucking changes. By the way, the APL is probably wrong now. I'm just going to throw it out there. We probably don't want to spam brush. Hold on one second. I actually have an idea. I might be able to hit two birds with one stone here. Okay, so here's the pre-nerf. Let's do copy equal pre-nerf more AB. And let's do this. Arcane Blast is your filler now. Okay. And let's run it. Wait, 0.9? Wait, why are y'all saying that? Did I do something wrong? Oh, did I fuck this up? Wait. Oh, I see it. You put it in the 0.9 modifier, you put it in the, oh, okay, okay. So that, you're just saying that it should be 0.9. Okay, okay. Was this 9 though? I don't remember. What was this number? Hold on, let me double check my work. What was this effect? Oh, yeah, the arcane charges. This was Savant. Mastery Savant. Scaled value 30. Spell ID. Wait, hold on. This is just completely wrong. Let me segment this one. This one I think is just completely wrong. It should be this ID right here. Scaled value 30, scaled value 60. This is correct. It's spell effect ID 26314. Just gonna comment out this line. Yeah, 26314 should go to, instead of 30, it's gonna go, oh, it's a scaled value. Hold on, this is different. It's not a spell power coefficient. This is a scaled value. This is different. One second. I have a different code for this. I'm glad y'all pointed this out. So it should actually be this code right here. Base value. Base value equal, instead of 30, it should be 90. Where's the other one? Were there two savants in here? Savant, Shri Savant. This was the other one. Oh, here it is. Affected spells, mastery charge. Wait, what the fuck? Is this number just coincidentally lining up? Should be 20 and 40. I think we need to change this ID. Was this the one I had before? Yeah, this is the one I had before. Okay, effect. Spell power coefficient. Okay. Yeah, so this is the one I had before. Maybe I need to do both. I'm not sure. It's weird. It's listed here twice. Maybe this is how it scales up with Prodigious Savant, so it won't even matter. This is the correct one, though. This is the one that actually matters right here. Yeah, this is the one that matters. It's spell effect ID 26314. Yes. Base value 30 goes to base value 90. I'm going to comment out this line. Actually, it probably doesn't matter if I leave it in. Let's just run it. Oh, okay, okay. There's where the 0 is. Got it. Yeah, we should just remove that line completely. It's just throwing us off. Where is it? Should be this. But I'm just going to comment it out anyways. Okay. This is the real one, I'm pretty sure. No, I appreciate it. It's hard whenever you're doing these things because it's not intuitive. I'm just like having to code without getting like a debug or error back. Right, so let's see what it does, and let's see if Blast is back on the menu. Okay, so here is pre-nerf. Wait, that... Okay. Pre-nerf was before this? This seems like a slight buff. No. It's only a 0.9% buff over pre-nerf. Wait, there's something wrong here. 1 second. Let me just double check my work here. Okay, so here's the base profile. Here is no SS. Here are the spell power coefficients I added. I believe these are all right. Let me just double check them. Which one was this number? This was Barrage. Okay, I'm going to label this Barrage. This used to be so this used to be 0.9720. This got nerfed by 60%. So it's times 0.4. The new number is 388888. Okay. So there it is in the comment. And these are the coefficients for mastery. So I'm going to add a line here. Arcane charges was 30/0.3. And then this one, these are orb and missiles, right? This one's missiles. So we'll add a comment for this. Arcane missiles. We'll add a comment for this one. Arcane orb. Okay. So here's everything that I changed. Let's remove this and see what it is first. So this is without including those. Yeah. Guys, we know. You're posting the same notes over and over and over again. I'm already working on the sim for this. See right here. Arcane barrage damage reduced by 60%. Arcane damage for barrage increase per arcane charge to 90%. Arcane missiles reduced by 10%. Arcane orb damage reduced by 10%. This sim, if it's sane, there's going to be one line that's not, but the rest of it should be a 5.6% nerf. If we see that, then we can proceed to the next step and we can add in these changes. Because right now I'm just simming for these changes. Wait, I didn't see this one. This is old though, right? Yeah, this is old. Yeah, so pre-nerf versus nerf to 5.6. This is correct. Okay, and now we go back in and we find our... Oh, this is pre-nerf. That's why it's backwards. Hold on. We got to do this. So for the base profile, we do the overrides here. I had it backwards. Okay, it's not a buff. It's definitely not a buff. So here's the space. Here's the spell power coefficients for what they are now. Here is the spell power coefficients for what they were then. We had it backwards. And we need to put these back where they were. So this was 0.92. This one was 30. This one was 30. This one was... And that was it. Here it is. 0.63555. 0.63555. Here's old. And then orb was... $1.02. Okay. So let's just do a check. So old splinters, old splinters, old splinter storm, old barrage, old charges, old missiles, old orb. Okay. And then, so this is pre-nerf. No Splinter Storm pre-nerf base. This is new base. Right here with the overrides. Here are the overrides. These are the nerf versions. Here's the base profile. Here is the no Splinter Storm profile. Underneath the base profile, we're going to say copy equals. We're going to say more blast. We're going to override this with Arcane Blast now. I have a theory that there's going to be an alternative here. Let's say use AE. So it's going to be actions, rotation, SSHV plus equals / arcane explosion, comma, if equals buff arcane charge stack less than 2. If we have less than 2 arcane charges, we want to use arcane explosion. If we do not have clear casting, where's the clear casting one? Here it is. Buff clear casting down. So if charges are less than 2 and clear casting is down, then we want to use explosion. We also probably need to add this mana percent. Actually, let's do it without the mana percent just for fun. And then we'll put our last line as barrage again, just to do a little meme. All right, let's fucking cook. I'm going to remove these Splinter Storm ones. I don't want this being like another point of data. I'd rather just focus on what we have right now. Okay, let's cook. Wait, it doesn't like this. 1 second. Override, player still explode out with effect. Wait. Oh, I know what's happening. This is because I declared it before the player. I need to put this underneath. This needs to go in here. And then we're going to copy it. So this will be included in more blasting and more AoE. And then whenever it goes down to here, it's going to override it on the player. And then that should do it. Okay, that'll work. I forgot. Whenever you declare player in there, you have to actually have the player already loaded or else it won't know what to do with it. Oh, did I misspell this? Arcane Explosion? There's probably a typo in here. Arcane Explosion if buff arcane charge. Oh, here this. If buff.arcane charge.stack is less than 2 and buff clear casting down, that should work. Okay, just syntax errors. The moment of truth. Chat, I can't look. You gotta tell me how it looks. I'll let you be the first to see it. You're back. Okay, pre-nerf Mage. So it is a 10% nerf. Yo, I fucking knew it. I knew it. Because I was like doing the sim earlier and I was like, yo, this is a 10% nerf. What's going on? And they were like, yeah, this shouldn't be a 10% nerf. There's maybe something else. So using Arcane Explosion is a DPS gain. The bright side is Arcane Explosion is a DPS gain in single target. Yes. So here's where we are now, and here's where Arcane Explosion is. Arcane Explosion is a gain in single target. Not only is it a gain, it's also more mobile to do that. So here's the deal. Yeah, I have not even cooked this. And it's already a gain. Huh? Worm said my last line is restricted. What does that mean? Raj is casting. Yeah, I don't understand what he means. Is it idling? Hold on. Okay. How big is the nerf? 10%. This is pre-nerf up here. Sorry, I had to clarify something in Discord. They were saying something and I wanted to explain my process. So yeah, pre-nerf is up here and then this is with the nerf. So this was with Arcane Blast as filler. This one is with Barrage as filler. And this is using Arcane Explosion twice before using Barrage as filler. So this includes the Splinter Storm nerf and the Barrage nerf and the Orb nerf and the Missile nerf and the Arcane Charge change. But here's the thing. This 10% nerf, I'm going to make this number go up. I'm almost certain I can make this number go up. In fact, let's do it. Okay, so yeah, so if we have no clear cast and we have arcane charges less than 2, we're going to do arcane explosion. And then if we have arcane charges okay, so if our arcane charge stack is less than so if we don't have clear casting, we don't have any of the other shit, none of these other conditions are being met, and our arcane charges are less than are greater than 2 and less than 4. Then we will Arcane Blast. Okay, let's see which one wins. And while this is running, I'm going to tab out and take care of something really quick. Meat. Okay, so it actually was DPS neutral with that. But use Arcane Explosion is still ahead. Oh wait, this was 0.4? Okay, this actually is a decent gain now. I think I actually copied the same thing. Where was it here? Yeah, this is use Arcane Explosion. This is memes. Okay. Yeah, we'll just cut this part out. Okay, so I have to take a little break, y'all. But I'll be back. I'll ask you, what's better? For me to just leave the stream running for an hour without me being here and then come back and keep streaming? Or for me to leave and turn off the stream and maybe not stream the rest of the day? Let me tell them I'm running late. Leave the stream on. Okay. Leave the stream on. Okay, okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so we'll do that then. Let me switch over to some B-roll, and I will be back in 1 hour from now. Let me get that up and running. 1 second. Shit, I forgot to add how I had like a countdown.